Madam Speaker, the official opening of Parliament by the President is an important occasion for the nation because it spells, the government's commitment to addressing the challenges that people are going through. The citizens of this country were glued to their televisions, to their radios, and to their Facebook because now Parliament is on Facebook. Why they were glued is because they were expecting to listen to a voice of hope, to a message of hope from the President, that tomorrow it is going to be a good day. Madam Speaker, whoever wrote that speech for the President is an enemy of the Zambian people. Had we allowed the President to speak as a man we've known over the years, a man who has presented himself with solutions, that speech would have been completely different. Madam Speaker, where I come from, we say when an elephant dies, the story in the village is that elephant. The elephant in the room, in as far as this country is concerned today, is the energy crisis. If you look at this speech on page 10 and 11, the President speaks to the energy crisis. Sadly, the President laments over the challenge of drought as being the reason behind this challenge we have today. First of all, Madam Speaker, the fact today is that your people in the communities are in despair. Contrary to the statements given by so many government officials that we are having 21 hours of load shedding, there are communities that are going for 5 days without power. Madam Speaker, whereas others feel or think that electricity is only for lighting bulbs, for watching TV, and for stove or cookers, electricity is our lives, Madam Speaker, because some people today have their lives dependent or depending on machines that are propelled by electricity. And you can imagine what that does. There was a report not long ago of people dying because the hospitals were not shaded. Electricity, Madam Speaker, means water. If you don't have electricity, it means that you will not be able to pump water. And you therefore know what it means if you don't have water. So you can now imagine for those communities that are having 5 days of load shedding, what that means. No power, no water, and therefore you know the anguish those people are in. Madam Speaker, contrary to assertions or to insinuations that the challenge of this energy crisis is on drought and climate change. Madam Speaker, this is not about drought and climate change. This is about leadership, Madam Speaker. If you ask the President today, back in the days, the man we knew did not want to allow excuses, particularly giving drought as an excuse. Because there are countries, Madam Speaker, that does not have rains, yet they are sufficiently supplied with electricity. That is the case of Zambia today. Let's be very frank here. Zambia has got a capacity in as far as generation of power is concerned. We are standing as 3,700 megawatts, Madam Speaker. 3,700. Please protect me, Madam Speaker. Protect me, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member, you may continue, because I was attentively listening to you.
Thank you, Madam
Yes,
Speaker.
Continue.
Just for the avoidance of doubt, for those who don't understand, Zambia stands at 3,700 megawatts capacity in terms of production of power, except that investment has been in hydro, 85%. The peak hours is only about 2,400. We have in excess, Madam Speaker, of 1,000, which we have been exporting over the years. So we have therefore to agree here that we have invested handsomely in power generation projects over the years. Except over the years, Madam Speaker, we've been greeted with a challenge of drought and climate change, which required us to have a mix, to now transit to having other sources of energy. That is where, Madam Speaker, we needed leadership. Because for the argument of doubt, Madam Speaker, to produce or to construct a solar power station it only takes you between 7 to 10 months. The UPND government have been in power for 3 years. Today, we are only talking of a deficit of 1,300 megawatts. Do you know what would have happened if the UPND government, being a people that presented themselves as having solutions, 3 years down the line, Madam Speaker, they would have invested in alternative solar power plants, Madam Speaker, we would have had 1,300 megawatts as we speak today, Madam Speaker. The President, Madam Speaker.
Order, honorable members, order. We want as many people to debate.
Madam Speaker, look at her.
So can we give him chance to debate? You may continue.
Madam Speaker, just for the dunderheads who may not understand.
For the
dunderheads.
No, that
Madam Speaker, we have a capacity to produce 3,700 megawatts.
Order. You've used unparliamentary language. The dunderheads.
I apologize, Madam Speaker, and I withdraw. Just for those who may not understand, because this is technical. There are people who are saying there was no investment in electricity generation. Madam Speaker, we are standing at 3,700 megawatts. We have 1,000 megawatts more than what we need. What we just needed, Madam Speaker, was to now transit to other sources. That is why I am saying, if we had leadership in the last 3 years, Madam Speaker, we would have...
The honorable member for Mpndu, you are becoming too loud. We'll give you a chance, honorable member for Mpndu, to debate. Thank you. The honorable member for...
Madam Speaker, the President missed an opportunity to give assurance to the Zambian people. What I would have expected is the President must have highlighted this problem. Number one, what is the extent of this problem? Starting with what we are dealing with in terms of the deficit and the interventions. The interventions should have spelled out short-term, medium-term, and long-term measures. The President missed that opportunity. I'm glad that the minister yesterday came to give a statement. But this is where I have a problem. This minister here, Madam Speaker, came to give a statement which stated this, that government has crowded back 290 megawatts from exports. Not long ago, Madam Speaker, the same Minister of Energy had intimated or mentioned to the country that because of bilateral issues, they are still exporting 250 megawatts. Madam Speaker, the question then remains...
The honorable member from Nkana, I've seen that you are moving away now from this presidential speech. You've now touched the Minister of Energy's ministerial statement yesterday. Can we be focused on the presidential speech?
Madam Speaker, page 10 and 11, the President speaks to the energy crisis. And I'm here saying, this energy crisis has got nothing to do with drought and climate change. It is leadership. Madam Speaker, this government has not been sincere in as far as export of power is concerned. This government has told us they are crowding back 290 megawatts. This government has told us they are still exporting 250 megawatts. The question that begs answers, how much of the power are they exporting? In the midst of a disaster, where people are going without food, without water, where institutional health are being load-shedded, where companies are closing down every day. This government is selling 250 megawatts of power, Madam Speaker. The minister or government says they are importing 450 megawatts from the southern power pool, where there's no power. What this government could have done to address this problem, they could have continued the 330 megawatts transmission line, which has ended in Kasama, all the way to Tanzania. Because today, as we speak, the Eastern Africa power pool has more power than us going to beg for 450 from the southern power pool. It is about leadership and nothing about climate change and nothing about drought. These people must own up and do what is right for the Zambian people. I thank you, Madam Speaker.